Muse was the primary antagonist of Daredevil, Born Again Season 1, and now Season 2 has replaced the character. While Matt Murdock has had his work cut out for him as he pushes back against Mayor Wilson Fisk's oppression in New York and the overwhelming presence that is the AVTF, Muse was the true villain of Daredevil, Born Again's premiere season. Muse was a brutal and monstrous figure who used his victims' blood to create street graffiti and spread messages about corruption in New York, but his brutal methods meant he was directly in opposition to vigilantes like Matt Murdock. By the end of the season, Muse captured Heather Glenn, the woman that Matt was dating, who also happened to be providing marriage counseling to Wilson and Vanessa Fisk. While Daredevil subdued Muse and saved Heather, Heather ultimately pulled the trigger on her attacker, and ever since, she has been struggling to deal with the mental burden of that incident. Heather Glenn has been on a dark path in Daredevil, Born Again Season 2. Image via Disney+. After killing Muse, Heather has been having hallucinations of her assailant. These visions have clearly been distressing and resulted in Heather struggling to move on from the incident, but it isn't the only thing holding her back. In addition to her fragile mental state, Heather has kept the mask that Muse wore, either as a trophy of her first kill or because she is unable to move on from that moment and feels more control when holding the mask of her late attacker. Heather has also begun working more closely with Fisk, helping him and the district attorney, Hochberg, to interview alleged criminals, and subsequently altering the answers they give to make them appear more unstable. Heather did this with both Jacques Duquesne and Karen Page. However, in her interview with Karen, Heather found herself on the back foot. Karen pushed Heather by talking about Matt, and as a result, Heather lashed out and repeatedly slapped Karen while she was restrained in handcuffs in an interrogation cell. Heather has become obsessed with Muse. While Heather was initially haunted by the ghost of Muse, she has since found herself drawn to the man that she killed, and appears to be increasingly confused about moral choices. Muse was similarly confused, feeling justified in his actions, and doing things that crossed lines as his heinous crimes evolved and became more grotesque. Over the course of Heather's character arc in Daredevil, Born Again, she has been behaving increasingly erratically, taking risks, and making irrational choices. From her lying on official reports for the DA, to stealing jewelry from Fisk's late wife, Heather seems to be taking less thought for her safety and acting in a way that is not correct, and leaning into this transformation that is seeing her become more like her attacker. Daredevil, Born Again is setting up a new Muse ahead of Season 3. Image via Disney+. At one point in Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, Episode 7, Heather and Mayor Fisk sit down together, and Fisk directly addresses her about having stolen an earring from Vanessa's jewelry box. While Fisk has been prone to lashing out, he sees a mirror of himself in Heather's behavior, and he is sympathetic about her grief. This seems to be a moment where both characters allow their masks to slip, and they show a degree of vulnerability. And yet, these are not two characters who are crying on each other's shoulders. They are people who are leaning into their anger, lashing out, and embracing the monster that is leading them down darker and darker paths. To some extent, Heather Glenn is clearly not the same as the Kingpin, and she has yet to commit crimes that are anything like Muse's, but the fact that she is holding on to his mask and making increasingly risky and destructive choices, it seems as though the character is on a path to becoming the new Muse ahead of Daredevil, Born Again Season 3.